Welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live. Thanks for being with us. Madelyn, Burke, Howard Cross with you. The phone number is 201-939-4513 or find us on Twitter at #GiantsChat. And as a reminder, you can find the archive of BBK and our entire podcast network on the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and giants.com/podcast. Howard Cross, we got the first day in pads today.
First day in pads, actual practice. I can't wait.
We're talking about practice out here. We
We're
got
talking
a
about practice.
5 p.m. practice. It's going to be a little dusk lake situation. Is that how we call it?
You know, after 100 degrees every day just for last week, they probably thought it was going to be 100 this week. So they hedged their bets and went at 5.
I know. I mean, Daboll has actually talked about this too. He likes to vary the time of practice, not only for the temperature, which has been quite hot out there, but also for giving these guys different levels of rest and also just varying times that they are playing, practicing their bodies. Because, of course, you know, you got games at 1 o'clock, you got games at 8:30, you got games at 4 o'clock throughout the season. So you want to be used to kind of working at different times of day, right?
That, and I think that sometimes, I don't know if it's coach intentionally doing it, but I think sometimes you have to get guys out of routines. You don't want anybody into a routine because if something breaks their routine, they're not able to change the way they go. Like teams that play at 1 o'clock all year long, every year, you want to be the 1 o'clock game. Most people want to be the 4 o'clock game. Some people like, you know, Monday night, Sunday night, and Thursday night. But the 1 o'clock game, if you could play that every week, you'd have a routine and you'd be great at it. And the moment you play at 4 o'clock or Monday night or whatever, it throws you off your rhythm.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, so he's varying the rhythm of practice, so they have to have very rhythms of games.
Which is interesting, too, because you want to have a variance in the rhythm, but also athletes are such creatures of habit.
No, we're not.
Yeah, yes, you are. Every Monday is this kind of practice. Every Tuesday is off. Every Wednesday, yeah.
Well, you know, we have schedules.
Okay.
Creatures are habit of schedules. I got
Schedule habit.
Okay.
Fair?
I got you. Fair
Okay.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, we've got a lot to get into in the first day of pads. Of course, it has not happened yet. It will happen later today, 5 to 7 p.m. practice. But we will be here talking about it, talking about what we've seen so far in practice. And again, the phone line's 201-939-4513. But before we get into that too, I want to remind you guys of the Giants Huddle podcast. Make sure you go and subscribe to the Giants Huddle podcast. It features long form interviews with Giants players, coaches, and front office staff, past and present. Plus, hear from the best analysts covering Big Blue and the NFL. Search for Giants Huddle and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or go to giants.com/podcast. And don't forget, if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star positive review for all of our Giants podcasts if you enjoy what you're listening to. Madelyn, Burke, and Howard Cross here on BBK. Make sure to follow Howard Cross at HowardCross87, or you can chime in with me, Madelyn Burke, at Madelyn Burke. Let us know what you think on Twitter, on social media. We'll be following around. Calling it X now?
On the gram.
On the gram?
You can get us on X or the gram.
On X. X gonna give it to you. Yeah, we will be, keeping you up to date on all the latest and greatest around the facility. Cross, I mean, first of all, I know one of the players that you wanted to talk about today, Jalin Hyatt.
Man, I'm going to tell you something. Watching this kid in practice, I was wondering if he was really that fast. He is faster than that fast. I can't believe this.
Yeah.
I thought like he ran his 40 time. I'm like, well, maybe he's, he slid to the 3rd round. I'm like, I don't know, maybe there's something I missed. And watching him in practice, I'm like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
If he's even, he's leaving. I'm telling you, it's great.
Yeah. He's so quick. I spoke to him yesterday too. So players are wearing GPS trackers, obviously.
Yep.
This came up because Art Stapleton was doing an interview with him the other day. And as they finished the interview, Daniel Jones walks by and said, "You tell him about your 24 miles an hour?" And Jalen's like, "No." And Art said, "Well, what is that? What does that mean?" And Jalin Hyatt multiple times throughout training camp has hit 24 miles per hour as his max speed. Now, for context at how fast that is, the fastest recorded speed in an NFL game is Tyreek Hill at 23.24 miles per hour. So granted, there's no pads involved yet, but still Jalin Hyatt multiple times gets faster than that.
All I'm going to say, if the wind's behind him, he can't run through a school zone. That's too fast. That's too fast.
Can you get a speeding ticket running?
I mean, the last time I was moving 24 miles an hour and I was in a car, I probably was falling. I think that was it because I couldn't slow down. Like, oh, no, look out.
Cannot slow down. Cannot slow down at all. I mean, this is a guy, though, and he's really made it a point, though, as much as that that speed and that vertical threat is such a highlight of his game. He doesn't want to be known as just that. You know, he wants to be able to be known as somebody that you can work the route tree with, that can get involved in those short yardage situations. But the fact that he is able to be a just send it guy, and also the fact that this offense is really prioritizing that with the speed in this wide receiver room.
Well, here's the thing, and I think that people should really think about this. If he keeps saying that, that means someone has told him that you're a one-trick pony, right?
Or maybe you just, when you hear the same compliment over and over, it's like, yeah, but I'm more than that, right?
No. So someone has told him he was a one-trick pony, and he's like, well, I can do everything. So now he talks about all the other stuff he can do besides going deep. If it were me and I could run 24 miles an hour, I would be saying every day, I said, well, if you can catch me. I would say it every day, and guys will start to back off of him. So all the other routes that he wants to run, he'll be able to run because they're so afraid he's going to go deep.
Okay.
If that was me, that's how I would promote myself.
So that's pro tip right there.
Yeah, pro tip number 1.
This is a guy that you know quite well, though, because Howard, as an Alabama alum.
You really going to bring this up?
I am absolutely going to bring this up because as an Alabama alum, as a member of the Roll Tide Nation,
Roll Tide.
You're quite familiar with Jalen Hyatt's highlight game with Tennessee.
Yeah, that's what got him drafted, probably playing against Alabama.
Yeah, do you want to just remind us how well he played in that game? I can't recall, Howard.
I think he's still open. Let's just put it like that.
7-Eleven. Staying open like 7-Eleven.
But
it's been good, too, because the depth in that wide receiver room. I talked to him yesterday. I asked him about this. The interview will be up on Giants.com later this week, and it's also going to be on our training camp show later this week as well. But there's so much depth in that wide receiver room, and there's so much competition within those wide receivers. There's also a lot of depth in the DB room. There's a lot of depth within the defensive backs. So not only are they competing amongst themselves, but against each other. And this is like peak iron sharpens iron competition, no?
That's always what it is. You know, you got the first round pick, and even Banks said he's the guy that everybody's like kind of keeping their eye on. They got a kid. I don't know what round he was drafted in. That's a rookie that is showing up and showing
Trey
out.
Hawkins?
Yeah.
Trey Hawkins, 6th round pick out of Old Dominion.
All I got to say is,
making plays.
Them 6th round picks, I ain't going to say nothing, but, I was one myself. They do things on the team. They do things. Yeah, they do. But he's balling out, every opportunity he gets, even getting some run with the ones, getting a little burn there, so I think that's more of like making sure that everybody knows all the positions all the times, and no matter who's in, who's out, we're going to be able to do this. I think that's going to be great. It's going to be interesting to see if it's going to be Hawkins, Flott, or Holmes in the slot, covering the slot receivers.
Or even Adoree's been working the slot a little bit too.
Well, Adoree, if I have 2 young, big guys on the outside that can cover,
right?
Adoree playing the slot in unique moments would be really huge. Right. Especially going against Dallas and that guy down there that plays in the slot.
One of the things I like about this, though, is that we're watching, as we're watching in practices, we're watching different guys getting runs with the ones. Of course, this is still early, and a lot of this is just giving guys opportunities to see where they can work and where they can shine. But it kind of further emphasizes what Brian Daboll always says, where it's like, no, there's no scholarship. There's no, this is the path here. If you're the best player, you're going to get the job. And in the locker room, I feel like players feel that, right? They know that like hard work translates to opportunity. That's got to be a great thing for the culture, right?
No, it forces a lot of things. And a lot of times people don't really think about this, but you talk about the GPS trackers, right? So when guys hit a certain amount, like you have a run rate. Once you hit your run rate, your time's up. Yeah. And coaches know that, and they've calculated that for practice, believe it or not. So they have guys, like they'll give you some reps and everything, and all of a sudden they know, okay, he's going to hit his run rate at this moment. So we're going to add this guy in and give him some run because he's going to have almost no burn at all. Right. So they're mixing and matching, using the GPS trackers to make sure everybody's hitting the same amount of time, same amount of, same distances, and get the right kind of rest for them. So it's not just the GPS tracker has allowed coaches not to say, okay, we're just going to do the 1s here, 2s here, and everybody else try to fit in. Now they say, okay, I know how far you've run today. So let's say a guy's on special teams, gets a lot of run. Then he can be backed off and put somewhere else and give him some drills. It's a very good way. It's a smart thing. The analytics has actually caught up to football, and it's starting to affect how they even practice.
Well, and that's such a good thing, too, because a lot of people, even the other day, we get callers calling in saying, well, analytics this and analytics that. It's got such a stink to the word, but it is so helpful. It's just data. It's just information. You got Sterling Shepard returning from PUP earlier this week. Yep. And then they give him the day off yesterday because you see how much work he puts in, and you want to be mindful. You want to be careful coming back from that injury. That's one of those things that he is so far ahead of schedule. You want to make sure that he stays that way. Yeah. Having that information, especially on guys that are coming back from injury, is
Absolutely.
helpful.
The one-on-one off, plus how many reps and how many miles he's run already during the day. They know all of that, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You want to try the callers?
We should. Let's get into some callers. Again, the phone lines are open, 201-939-4513. First on the line, we've got Ron from New Jersey. Ron, what's happening? Welcome to BBK.
Hello there, and Madelyn, welcome to the team.
Thank you.
This part of the team, I should say.
Thank you.
I enjoy your post-game show, so lots of luck.
Appreciate
it. So just
it.
two quick questions, and you just touched on one of them with Sterling Shepard. Will he be ready against Dallas? How about Robinson? How's his health? And then I'm going to throw one up, Howard. I know you're going to like this one.
Mm-hmm.
How many times do they practice in pads these days compared to when you played?
Oh, that's easy. When we played back in the old,
back in my
leather helmet days, you get off my yard. Now in practices, in college we practiced 3 times a day.
Yeah.
We had
and in college you're always in pads too.
Yeah,
some of these guys were like,
but you're always in pads. We practiced 3 times a day. We had the morning practice, the cooler practice was full pads. The afternoon practice was more running, but it was shoulder pads and helmets. And then the night practice we went back into full pads. So we would practice 3 times a day, and we'd practice full pads 3 times a day, 2 times a day. When I got to the NFL,
do they still do that in college?
I don't know if they can. I think that everybody has GPS trackers, and they're starting to try to figure out how far these guys are running because they're trying to prevent injuries. But, in college you can still go 1s on 1s, 2s on 2s, and then on the off day you go like 1s on 2s. My son's in college now at Notre Dame. He's going through the exact same thing. They do 2-a-days. They get after it. It's just different, and they're in pads basically every day. When we got to the NFL, it was the same thing. We used to start practice off with 9-on-7 or inside run drill. So we were like, that was our warm up.
Yeah.
So it's just different. I can still remember what was the drill that there's so many concussions. The Oklahoma drill, where you lay on your back and pop up and try to get to the ball. So all that's gone. The NFL and the union and got together and said, well, that's bad for football. So we'll just add games. But no.
So every team does the same practice. Right?
Every team has the same rules. I was questioning, and again, not questioning, but asking questions about when I first saw the first few practices. They had on helmets and nothing else. Like they used to have on these little, we would call them waffle pads under their jerseys, just to make sure you wouldn't get shoulder pointers or you can break your collarbone or something. Someone bumps into you too hard. They didn't have that the first few practices because you're not allowed to have it until I forget what day. You have to be in practice so many days or have an off day before you can put anything on your shoulders, trying to slow people down. But it's a lot of rules. They're trying to review it and trying to keep notes with the medical staff to see if it's working. But the pads are safest, believe me.
Yeah. Well, and
sometimes.
Oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say, even talking to some of these guys yesterday, talking to your guy, Trey Hawkins, he was saying, about the anticipation of putting pads on. He's like, well, pads are part of our uniform. This is what we're used to practicing, and this is what we're used to playing, and it's almost weirder going through the practices without the pads. But sometimes, you got to do that to get those fundamentals down and be able to execute them.
Well, yes, but I think the X pads is specifically now the ones that are molded to your body, and they, kind of have that aerodynamic thing that you can hit, and the collision disperses all over. It doesn't really hit in one spot and hurt you. It's supposed to be so much safer.
Yeah.
It seems like they would have those on to protect themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It almost seems that the pendulum never stops in the middle, right?
No. It's
so
either one way or the other.
Yeah, maybe 25 years ago we overdid it, but today I don't know if it causes more injuries or not. Let a doctor figure that one out.
Exactly. I tell everybody, it's like hot dogs. America's favorite, America's food, the hot dog, but no one wants to see how it's made.
Oh, but not.
And how about Sterling Shepard? Will he be ready for Dallas?
I don't know if he's going to be ready for Dallas, and I don't want to, promote him in that way because I'm not a doctor. I think that what they have to do is they have to, check him, going forward to see where he is. And we all pulling for Shepard, but there are a lot of guys in that receiver room. So,
I know that.
Yeah.
So he, the sooner he gets back, the sooner he's in full on competition. So right now he's everybody's excited to see him. But he's at the same time he's probably pushing himself to get out there because he doesn't want to miss too many reps and hey, don't forget about me. I'm here. So it's gonna be interesting to see.
Well, and Shep's not only been just an excellent part of that wide receiver room, but also just the best hype man too.
Yeah, he's
with
big
his
time.
custom T-shirts rooting on his teammates last year, he's on the field chirping in all these guys' ears. Yesterday, Bryce Ford Wheaton was in the end zone, made a play. Shep pulls him aside and he's like, "Hey, let me, got a couple notes for you on this one." Just really strong veteran presence for these young guys.
That's why we want the guy in the locker room.
Absolutely.
I love that about him.
Ron, thanks so much.
Well, thank you very much. Best of luck, Madelyn.
Thanks so much, Ron. Great hearing from you. And just a reminder, the 2023 NFL schedule is officially out. Single game tickets are on sale now. Don't miss the Giants at MetLife Stadium this season. Visit giants.com/tickets to secure your seat. 201-939-4513 or find us on Twitter at #GiantsChat, at Howard Cross 87, at Madelyn Burke. We've got Bella in Miami on the line.
Oh, no.
Bella in Miami.
I wonder who that is. Hello, Bella.
Hey, you guys. How's it going?
It's going good. In case this audience
great.
doesn't know, Bella is my daughter, Isabella. She's in Miami.
Isabella Cross, the belated birthday girl, calling into the show.
So
Happy belated birthday, Bella Cross.
What can we do for you?
Ron kind of took a little bit of my question. I know I've been talking to you a little bit about camp data. I know everything's going well. Our new guys are so exciting, and Saquon's back. But I need to know where the room on this roster is for Shep this season after coming off of that knee injury. Because I know you said he looks strong, but...
Wow, look at Bella. Are you? Was that an interview?
Is this a proud dad moment right here? Is this a proud dad moment? I
That
think
is
so.
pretty good.
That's a solid question,
That's
Bella.
a real solid question. Where's the room for Shep? I do believe, in all fairness, I think that he will have a shot as a slot, but I think that they're all the receivers now on the team. That you have 2 or 3 guys that are definitely down the field threats. That that's what they're going to be. Mostly, they're learning to run the outside routes, trying to take care of the middle of the field. I think Shep's an excellent inside-outside guy and middle of the field guy, so he's going to have a fighting chance in there. So again, veteran, big presence in the locker room, big presence on the field, fan favorite. If he's healthy, he has a shot, but he's got to be totally healthy, and that's going to be his, going to be his thing. Will he start the season? Because once they take him off PUP, I don't know if they can put him back on PUP.
Right.
I
don't think so.
So this is him, exposing himself because he really wants to be a part of it and show he's ready.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right, Bella. Good observation. They have a lot of slot guys on this roster right now, on this training camp roster. A lot of it because of the fact that Shep, Wan'Dale Robinson, some of these guys coming in banged up, coming in injured a little bit. But if he works his way through, I mean, it's going to be a deep position.
It's a very competitive position, but he wants it. He wants that smoke. So let's see what happens.
And also, we talked about this last preseason. We said, "Wow, look at how many wide receivers they have. How are they ever going to cut down that group?" Yeah. Organically, sometimes injuries happen. Unfortunately, injuries happen. So you never know. It's better to have that problem of too many guys in the room than not enough, too.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your question.
Bella in Miami, thanks for the call.
That's pretty funny. Daddy misses you. Love you, girl.
Yeah, I miss y'all. Have a good rest of the show.
That's awesome.
Hit him straight, Bella. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Giants fans, make sure to take your fandom to the next level with a season ticket membership. Stay connected to the club all year round, not just on game days. Memberships are now available for the 2023 season. To learn more about all the exclusive member benefits, visit giants.com/tickets. Limited inventory is available. How proud are you that Bella calls into the show?
Inside story, guys. Just so everybody knows out there that she's not calling for me. I've been here with John, Paul, everybody. Just anything. Madelyn's on. Hi, Dad. I was like, oh, okay,
Bestie.
good.
Bella's a
buddies.
gem. My golf buddy, my dear pal.
That's
so
awesome.
proud of her. She's just crushing it down
killing it.
down in
Yep,
Miami.
she's killing
moved
it.
down there. You raised them well.
I did all right.
You did all right. You got some good kids out there, Cross. We've got Wilson and Roxbury calling in on the show, 201-939-4513. Wilson, how's it going?
Hey, Madelyn. Hey, Howard. How you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good.
Hey, listen, Howard and Madelyn. This guy, Brian Daboll, he's starting to rub me the wrong way.
Oh, go
And
do tell.
I tell you what, I don't like when coaches insult fans' intelligence. It bothers me.
Okay,
I mean,
and how
let me tell
so?
you something. And I tell you,
What did he say to
we
touch
all
fans?
know. Okay, we all know that it's a new season. We're not 5 years old. We know that. But when Sterling Shepard says what every Giants fan's thinking that, we want to play off game last year, we want to do better. I don't need this guy saying, "Oh, Shepard, I think is getting confused with practice." I don't need him to say that.
Well,
because
Wilson,
is it against the law? Let me just
Go
finish
ahead.
real quick. Is it against the law? I mean, was he afraid he's gonna get fined, or Jamal is gonna fine him?
So for you,
we want to do better. We want to do better than last year.
Hey
Why is he saying that?
Wilson, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Do what's that guy's name that said the Jets? What's his name? Aaron Rodgers, right? He won 2 or 3.
I don't know about
hold your,
the Jets.
take a breath.
Wait, this is it.
This is me explaining this to you. Don't talk over me.
Okay, good.
Or I'll hang up.
Good. I'm sorry.
Aaron Rodgers won 2 or 3 of these MVPs. He's supposed to be the man, but his last year in Green Bay, the team looked pretty horrible, right? And everybody thought that they would win the North really easy. Same team. He put that team together almost. It never works that way. So when the coaches are telling guys out loud, and when guys are like, we want to do better than we did last year, yeah, that's great. We got better players than we had last year. That's great. But every year's a different year. Every game is a different game. It's not insulting fans' intelligence, but if a fan like yourself makes the mistake of using your fandom to think the guys are the same, then you lost.
Well, the other thing to
that,
consider, though, too, Wilson, the other thing to consider is Sterling Shepard saying, hey, listen, our goal is to put a banner up there, right? And then Brian Daboll saying, listen, I want to remind you guys to have a good practice because Brian Daboll is Wilson. Wait, let me finish. Because Brian Daboll is aware of the fact that if he says, we're trying to play for a Super Bowl, that's the headline on the back page of every newspaper, and everyone's saying, you're trying to play for a Super Bowl, and that's all they're talking about, Wilson.
And Wilson, and everybody has a different coaching staff.
This is New York City, Madelyn, and let me tell you, Madelyn,
That doesn't matter.
I heard his first. Listen, and I call a lot. I'm a little controversial, I guess. But thank you guys for have a back and forth. But listen, his first press conference with Joe Shane. Mm-hmm. When I heard that, and a lot of my buddies heard that, we wanted to grab the TV and throw it out the window. That was his first conference.
Here's the thing. We appreciate your call.
Yeah, thanks so much for calling in,
Here's
Wilson.
the thing. Wilson is upset that the coaches are saying, or this coach specifically is saying that every year is a different year. We can't get too far ahead. Players saying out loud, like, we made the playoffs last year and we should be going all the way. We're trying to hang another banner.
Right.
Great expression, great energy, great everything. Coach has to be the rudder. He has to be able to direct the ship. He has to keep everybody's mindset right. He has to say it in the press, in the locker room, in the coach's room, on the practice field, on the plane getting to the games. It is always about the very next step. I tell people this every day, and I told the guys this last year when I got to speak to the team. Remember this, you're never the same every day. You have an opportunity to get a little better, or you can get worse, but you're never going to be the same. And a lot of times, thinking that you're better without putting in the work to get better makes you worse.
Yeah. Well, and yesterday's league is not today's league. Yesterday's season is not today's season. Last year, I mean, look at the Tennessee Titans, right? Look at the Tennessee Titans going from the #1 overall seed in the AFC in 2021 to the struggle bus that they had in 2022. Anything can change. Anything can change. The Los Angeles Rams winning the Super Bowl, and then, yes, they had significant injuries to their quarterback and to their receiving court. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's just every week. It's a week to week, a year to year thing. I remember we were in London, and I was listening to all the fans. You think we have a chance? I'm like, I don't understand what you guys are looking at.
Yeah.
They're like, this team looks this good. This team doesn't. So we'll see what happens, but I'm pulling for this. I'm pulling for these guys.
And also, Giants fans know Giants have been on the losing side of so many of those games that were like had like a couple points this way, had a couple moments this way. Every once in a while, you'll be on the winning side of those things, but the pendulum swings both ways.
Yeah.
And we're 1 or 2 plays away from winning or losing sometimes.
And the biggest thing about last year and this year is the 2 different schedules, and the 1-score games will tell a lot that you're going forward. I don't think there are games where one score is going to be decided. It's maybe 2 scores here, 2 scores there. There's going to be some good defensive battles here, defensive battles there. But you cannot go through this. Do not put unreal expectations on your fandom, because you will be upset or you'll be super happy if things go well. But it's just, we can't. I don't know.
Right.
I'm expecting a lot of progress. I mean, a lot of progress. But a lot of progress may be the same record or 1 game less. Right. Because they're better teams.
They're better teams, and and each team every year is different as well. You look at the strength of schedule, right? People look at that oftentimes when the schedule comes out. Look at how strong this schedule is. And you're judging that based on who all of these teams were last year.
Based on history.
And
history changes.
A lot of them have a lot of changes as well. 201-939-4513. The phone lines are open. We've got Tim in Charleston calling in. Tim, thanks for calling BBK.
Hello again, Madelyn.
How's it going, Tim?
Hey, good. Talk to you on Friday. Hey, Howard.
Thanks for calling again.
Thank you. It's great there in Pads. I'm so looking forward to listening to tomorrow's show to get all the feedback and everything, because it's getting exciting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, I did this with Lance and JC on Thursday, and if you'll tolerate this, I'm doing like a little true or false, a couple of quick questions for y'all.
Okay.
And I'm kind of trying to get to everyone once through on it. So the first one for each of you is the Giants will have, for the first time in a Wink Martindale defense, a player who gets double-digit sacks. True or false?
Oh, that's going to be true.
I'm going to say true. Yeah, I'm going to say true.
You might have 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially,
okay. Wow, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And the second question is the Giants' offense will have 40 or more plays of 20-plus yards.
40 or more? That's a lot.
40 or more.
That would mean you have to have 40 or more plays.
Last year, I think they had 21 or 23.
I mean, I think 40 is a lot.
40 is a lot. I think they will have significantly more than last year.
I think they'll be in the high 30s. If they have more than 40, if they may have more than 40 plays of 20 or more yards, they're going to score a lot of points. Or they're going to be
playing from behind a lot.
Yeah, they could be playing from behind a lot.
Yeah, both things could be true.
Yeah, so I'm hoping for no on that.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I didn't think of that angle. So you're both going false on that one.
I'm going to go false on that, yeah.
Just a little lower than 40.
This one is the Giants' defense will be top 10 in either yards allowed or points allowed, one or the other.
Yeah, that'll be top 10. If you think of the best defenses, you're thinking of San Francisco, you're thinking of Dallas, I think you're thinking of the Eagles, and then after that, it's a bunch of teams.
Well, and especially with how strong this team was in the red zone defense last year, I think they'll build off of that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the last one I may have overstepped, but we're going to go with the Giants will score at least 3.5 or more points per game on average in 2023.
Did you say 3.5?
3.5
yeah,
points.
I think they'll be okay.
So they'll have more than a field goal?
No, wait. I got it now.
Oh, okay.
So if
more
they score
than
20,
their average points per game will be 3.5 or more higher
than they were last year.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying they will have 3.5 average points. 3.5 or more higher than last year. Points per game.
Which mean they would have to score like
about 24.
They'd have to score like 28, 30 in a couple of games. If they do it in 3 games, then they would break the average up. I don't know.
That's tough.
If they win 17-10, I take the win. So I don't really care about that one. So I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's hard too, because especially like looking at this.
I don't know.
Especially, I think
so
about this.
You're going to punt, Howard?
I am, because I don't know, because you got to play San Francisco, you got to play the Eagles twice, you got to play Dallas twice. I think Washington should have a decent enough defense. Seattle, I like their defense a little bit. You think about Buffalo, the Patriots, Miami. I don't know if Miami's defense, their offense is great, but I don't know about their defense. But the Jets, they have a top-ranked defense, so that's more than half the schedule of teams that you're playing that have top-ranked defenses. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
I probably set that a little too high. But Madelyn, you're going false there?
I'm going to go false. Yeah, I think because I
All
think
right.
3.5 more is quite a bit as well.
Thanks for indulging me. I'll listen to the rest of the show off the air.
Thanks so
appreciate
much,
it.
Tim. Thanks for the call. Appreciate hearing from you. 201-939-4513. Also, make sure the Giants' official connected TV streaming app, Giants TV, brings original video content and game highlights on demand and direct to Big Blue fans. Giants TV is free on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, and the Giants mobile app. What do you got here, Howard?
I'm trying to read this. Plays over 20 yards. It says we had 43 last year.
We had 43 big plays. This coming in from John Schmelk right here with the
Double
quickness
producing.
right here.
Went to but they ain't copied it. I can't even use a printer, so that's really impressive. And
You can't use a printer?
I have an assistant, so it doesn't really help me.
Okay.
No,
Your assistant who just moved to Miami.
yeah, she gets a lot of texts. Well, with this, if this is true, then yeah, we'll have more than 40 plays of over 20 yards. I never really thought about it that way
Yeah.
because it looks like they had the
Maybe you
But
meant
still-
through the air?
Maybe through the air. Yeah, because 43 was the fewest in the league, according to this. So if more than 40, that's still not super impactful of big plays. But if he means through the air, that might make more sense.
yeah
Big passes.
big passes.
Big passes was 28. Okay, so that makes sense. He was probably talking about passing plays. Yeah, I mean, because when you got Saquon Barkley running for several yards, that can be.
I can't predict that. I mean, it could be anything in that situation, and I do mean anything. Like,
Right.
You know, they're going to be backing off. You got Waller out there. He could catch a bunch of 20-yard passes. Everybody's forgetting about
Unless
Bellinger.
viral sensation Jason Pinnock is in the way.
And you know, and I think Bellinger's looking a lot better than people really expected him to look. I think that, you know, having Waller has really increased his game. We also, you know, can't ever forget about Slayton. That's going to be out there, deep threat, high at a deep threat. I don't know if the offensive line holds up really well. Saquon could run for 20 yards, maybe 10 or 20 times. That's a lot of ifs in there. So I don't do that's. You know, the other ones were kind of fun to do. That one I can't. I have no idea.
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, every day would be Christmas, right?
Okay.
It's I don't know, why not? It's hard to predict that kind of a thing, but it is very apparent that that's a priority for this offense. It's apparent that it's a priority that this offense has these big play abilities, has this long pass abilities, gives Daniel Jones the opportunity to not just send it down the field, but send it down the field with a quickness because of the amount of speed that they're investing in. This wide receiver.
That's all great. I'll do it again. Twice the Eagles, twice the Cowboys, twice the Commanders or whoever they are now.
Yeah.
Seattle, all the AFC East, San Francisco. Is that enough?
That's enough. Yeah, point taken right here, of course. But yeah, you mentioned
Pro Bowlers on the outside everywhere covering. So and Pro Bowl, you know, pass rushers everywhere. So it's going to be an interesting year.
Interesting year indeed. 201-939-4513 or check in with us on Twitter at #GiantsChat or at HowardCross87 at Madelyn Burke. We've got Roy in Charleston on the line. Roy, how's it going? Welcome to BBK.
Well, thank you. Welcome, Madelyn. Good to hear your voice. I've really enjoyed watching you doing the post-game show.
Thanks so much, Roy.
And you're welcome. And Howard Iron Cross, good to talk to you for the first time.
All right, thanks so much.
And a shout out to my buddy Tim in Charleston. And we're going to try to get together for a pregame. And I'll shoot you a text, Tim. So, Howard, I wanted to ask you your opinion on what if we keep 6 wideouts, how many who do you think they would be? We know Slayton will be one. JC will be one. Go ahead, I'll let you do it.
I think they Paris be one, right? I think Slayton probably will be one. Hyatt's probably going to be one as a draft pick. That's 3. Now I think Hodgins, yeah. That's going to be 1. 4.
Hodgins. You think Shep?
I don't know.
Don't know?
I don't know. Because you got to remember also that.
Think Cole Beasley?
Again.
Yeah.
Don't know. So you have to remember how they sneak this around. So they can put 6 guys up, right, and keep the 6 guys. I don't know who the top 6 are going to be because I got 4. You know, you got Robinson if he's back and healthy. You know, he'll probably get a shot. You have Who else is out there? They're like
Colin Johnson.
Colin Johnson.
Yep. Bryce Ford Wheaton.
It's a lot of guys that could get out there. So they're going to get their top 6 guys. After they get their top 6, they're going to sneak 3 or 4 guys onto the practice squad. And when they keep the 3 or 4 guys on the practice squad, when guys start to unfortunately get nicked up and go down, then another guy steps in. So it's harder for me to do the receivers or the DBs because they're going to keep so many of them around. And like last year when Hodgins just all of a sudden, we got to find somebody that can run down the field. Whether our big money guy has a hip that he hasn't really exposed that he's going to do. He's trying to fight through it and play. That's really nice, but he can't get open. And now all of a sudden, Hodgins comes in and boom, 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 becomes the favorite target almost.
Yeah.
Slayton, who was quote unquote almost in the doghouse the year before, and everybody's like, man, hope he makes the team. Turned out to be the most reliable big threat on the team when it goes down the field. So I just don't know exactly which 4 guys will be the starters. If I knew which 4 guys would definitely be the starters, then I could give you the next 2. But
Okay.
I got to see this practice tonight because it's going to be live and it's going to be a little more competition than what you're having right now on pajamas where you can't really touch each other.
Well, and also we're really only a week into this, and so many things. Like we've talked about this so many times. Last year we had the same problem at the beginning of training camp. Wow, there are so many talented wide receivers. How are they ever going to make this cut? You hope, touch wood, that everyone stays healthy.
Yeah, by the end of training camp, you were down to like half of those, and then by the week 4, you had 5 guys that you could carry because the 6th or 7th guy they weren't on the team yet.
Right.
Right. So we're hoping for help.
And I remember that was a struggle for us. But I mean, it was also a credit to the coaching staff to bring these guys up from the practice squad, and they fit in. And I mean, we went to a playoff game. That was just that speaks of the player and the coaching staff.
Yeah, I think you have to don't discredit Joe and his crew too. With the scouting and being on top of everybody to have live bodies that could understand an offense really quickly, and once they understood it, they can get them playing really quickly.
Right.
That's probably the most important thing is having somebody to know how to keep the cupboard full or stocked. So when something goes wrong, okay, let's see. Oh, let's try this. Oh, wow, this looks nice.
Yeah.
So this is really good for them to keep the seasoning for the food there.
Keep the seasoning for the food. That's one way to put it, right?
Yeah. And one last comment, comment and a half. I think that I think Paul is right when he said that, I think there was a lot in the playbook we didn't get to show last year because of the injuries, and we might be able to utilize a little bit more. We might see some newer stuff. How many wideouts can they keep on the practice squad?
It's not how many wideouts. I think that it's more of how many players you're going to keep. So let's say you travel with 5, 6, 7 linemen. You'll probably travel with at least 5 to 6 wideouts. 2 of those guys are primarily special teams guys. Then you try to staff your practice squad. You get extra guys now, so you probably try to keep 2 or 3 linemen, 2 or 3 D linemen, 2 to 3 DBs, 2 to 3 wideouts. That's how they usually do it. And one of those linemen, in theory, usually is a linebacker or a tight end. So that's kind of how they're doing it. And depending on depending on who you have to call up from the practice squad is who they refill the spot with in the practice squad because they have to sit somebody down.
Right. Yeah, but there's no positional limits to a practice squad. It's just player limits, I believe.
I think it's player limits.
So you can have a certain amount of players, but it's who do you want to have?
You could have all kickers if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, but you could.
The key is in the kicking game.
Right. Yeah. All right. Guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you taking my call.
Thanks so much, Roy. Thanks for calling in to BBK. But yeah, he's right. I mean, this wide receiver room is so deep. Cole Beasley, Paris Campbell, Jamison Crowder, Bryce Ford Wheaton, Isaiah Hodgins, Jalen Hyatt, Colin Johnson, Jaden Mickens, Khalil Pimpleton of Hard Knocks juggling fame, Sterling Shepard, David Sills, Daniel Jones's North Carolina buddy, Darius Slayton, Jeff Smith. I mean, so many bodies in that room.
It's going to be a lot of bodies, and it's going to depend on what they want them to look like. Do you want taller guys? You want quick guys? You want, I believe, and I tell people this all the time, if you've watched the Patriots where Coach Coach had some run. They had guys that got open. I mean, running wide open. That is the kind of offense they run. When you watch the Kansas City Chiefs in the past, I know Tyreek Hill, but everybody else besides the guy that's running and taking off top off the defense was wide open. You want guys to get open. You don't want guys doing the 50-50 ball. The 50-50 ball means you're not open. He's throwing it to you in hopes that you can catch it. You want guys that are open. There's a window. You've created a window by your speed, by your ability to break away from a guy. Now he has a chance to get you the ball.
Absolutely. 201-939-4513. Phone lines here for BBK. Another story we got to get to, Cross. I'm surprised we haven't touched on this yet either, but Giants shoring up the offensive line, signing journeyman center Sean Harlow. Of course, J.C. Hasenauer tore his triceps, put on injured reserve earlier today. Signing Sean Harlow on earlier today, adding to that depth in the offensive line group because, of course, number one, you need it for the first day in pads. They've got, 14 now healthy linemen because McKeithen is also on PUP heading into this season or really? Right now.
14 linemen, that's it.
Exactly, right? Well,
wow.
Yeah.
That's barely two groups. That's okay. Well, that's so interesting.
It's a little bit tough. So that group is a little bit thin right now, but Harlow, he came in on Monday for a workout. 7-year veteran, 4th-round pick for the Falcons, and spent some time with the Colts, most recently the Cardinals. Played in 33 regular season games, started 8, giving some veteran presence right there. I think a lot of expectation is that JMS, the 2nd-round pick rookie, will get the start at center or earn that spot. But, of course, he's got to earn it. Yeah,
well, I think he's going to earn it. Watching him just in these practices right now, he's able to call out the coverages, get everybody in the right spot. And when you can do that, the rest of the guys kind of play better around you. So tonight's going to be a good practice for me to watch to see how he handles, big Dex in the middles, Leonard on one side of him, Robinson coming up the middle at him. Those are some big bodies. And if you're in full pads, the energy is going to be super high. So it's going to be his first real kind of, baptism by fire in practice. When you got an all-pro guy playing in front of you, it's really baptism by fire.
Absolutely. You mentioned Dex, too. I saw him in the hallway earlier today. I was like, you ready to put the pads on? He goes, I feel like I've been in pads all season. I was like, what is that? He goes, I get double-teamed every play. At least I'll have some protection this time.
He looks like he's in pads all the time. He's a big dude.
Big Dex, the man who calls himself Sexy Dexy.
And you don't argue with him. Like, okay, that sounds good to me.
I mean, you see that sack dance too? It's all shoulders right here. All shoulders. Yeah. I mean, this is where we're getting some football, right?
No, it's exciting right now. Everything's happening. It's I think the fans are at a fever pitch. We've been doing the show a lot, and just like there's no training, there's no anything. We're talking. Coming up with some great ideas. I think John's done a great job putting great shows together. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We did the college scouting and who you're going to draft thing was fun. I think there's been a great offseason. But now it's time to start, as we say, sharpening the knives. It's about time to go to battle out here. These guys are looking good. They're getting ready, and because there's so few padded practices, I'm kind of excited to see how this kind of breaks down tonight, and see how these guys get after it. I'm also, really, really, really interested to see how much time the quarterback's going to have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
I know it's early.
Yeah, because we've seen some plays the last few days, and some of these highlight plays on social media and stuff that had they been in live action.
Well, I don't know how you can stop somebody from rushing if they don't have pads on.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. So it's going to be interesting to see if, okay, now that was great. You're running on me every day. Now let's see what happens. I put this pad on you. But it's going to be funny to watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting to watch. See if how hyped they are. If they're going to be a little pushing and shoving. It should be a lot of energy out there.
Well, it's also, one of the things that Bobby Okereke was talking about yesterday. He talked to the media. He was at the podium, and one of the points that he made is that it's kind of a balance, right? You put these pads on and you got a lot of pent-up aggression, right? You got a lot of this like, okay, I've been going against you. I've been sick of seeing this and that. But you also have to be mindful of the fact that you're trying to keep yourself and your teammates healthy for a 17-game season. So as much as you want to really just lay it into them, you're also like, okay, listen, you got only a week left until you're going against the Detroit Lions in practice. Maybe save it for then. But that's got to be hard, right? That first day in pads in months.
I think it is, and I think it isn't. I think it's hard for, if you don't know what you're doing. And
Right.
what I mean, if you're unsure about your playbook, because when you're doing this, you can kind of slide and get by a little bit. You can kind of nudge your way into the right position and, think you're doing it right. And they'll tell you, like, hey, you need to get your shoulder here. You need to put your hand here. When he's coming for the double team, you got to twist a little bit. And you might just like, okay, I'll do it when he gets the pads on. And when the pads come on, those first few plays, it's not going to be tempers flaring. There's going to be some feelings hurt because you're not going to be ready for it. So the balance comes between knowing exactly what you got to do, knowing your technique, being really good at your technique, and getting your steps correct. That way, everybody keeps their feet, and you get to the spot where you're supposed to be all the time.
Yeah, you got to get to your spot
All the time.
all the time. But I mean, that's the other thing too. I mean, we talked to some of these guys earlier today. Ben Bredesen talking about this as well, saying, yeah, all this work without the pads on is harder for these linemen, for these guys in the trench, but it also is important because it's an opportunity to work on those fundamentals, work on that kind of stuff. Even Nacho was like, the only difference with pads is just more for me to grab onto.
Exactly. But it's hard, especially for the lineman. I think it's hard. You're trying to grab something to hold on to something to stop somebody as you're putting your hands on them. You can't really punch somebody because if you punch them and break their collarbone, then, so it's a lot of.
Or if you punch them and break your hand.
Well, punching is like, this is what they do the whole time. They tape they don't have tape on their hands, no pads, no gloves. So it's all feel. So it's very interesting.
201-939-4513 or on Twitter at #GiantsChat, at HowardCross87, at Madelyn Burke. We've got Dave in Cranford on the line. Dave, what's going on?
How you guys doing? Madelyn, you just fit right in, man. You're a great
Thank
spot.
You.
So
Thanks
it's really
that.
nice. Yeah, really nice listening to you. A couple different things. I'm not sure if Schmelk is listening someplace or can hear this, but
he's always listening.
I know he's always listening. I know, but I'll tell you, I was just for fun. I was like, hey, if the Giants.com they got media coverage, like, let me go and check out, some of the stories coming out of like Dallas and what's going on with them, and because everyone's so focused on week one, at least I am. And my one observation I came away with, I mean, I know they have a ton of fans, so my guess is their media numbers look really, really good. But my Lord, man, you guys are what BBK puts out there, what Giant.com puts out there, what you guys put out there. If I wasn't grateful before listening to these guys, oh my God, it's like painful.
Dave, that just got a fist bump from Pearson right there.
Okay, whoever, man. I'm not being a homer. I'm not kidding you. It is. I get that they probably have these awesome numbers because they got tons of fans, but I was like, please, would you tell me something actually going on in practice? Give me an honest opinion. Like, I mean, even Paulie Dots, I love him to death, but like he's still a football guy. Like, Schmelk and Lance and all you guys, it's like, oh my God, we're freaking spoiled here on Giants.com. So
wow.
That's number one. I know.
And
you probably can't.
You can send a check to Schmelk's account.
Mm-hmm.
So, Schmelk's going to send a check to you. My bad. I forgot that back.
No, he already.
Got the check cleared.
Yeah,
he wants a check.
He already has. He sent me a check for $0.01 in his account. We've already gone through this before.
You know him very well then.
He knows I love him. Second thing is just a real quick point about the guy that called in about Daboll. It's so funny. My reaction to Daboll's comment about Shepard was the complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And part of that is just because, look, Daboll, I've listened to every word that guy has said since he's become head coach. He has said that making the playoffs is not the Giants' goal. Like, he has publicly said that. Now, he wasn't necessarily just as like an overarching theme of like what they're trying to do. And if you talk to him about last year, his biggest focus was on losing the last game to the Eagles. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that was his biggest focus. And like that gives me more confidence in the head coach than him coming out and making some sort of broad proclamation. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. And the last thing is, I don't think there's any chance that Sterling Shepard does not make this team. I know. I understand the position. That guy is so unique. He gets hurt with these like wild injuries, but he's also on one side, which I feel bad for him. But he's also the fastest healer at the same time. It's like he's got this weird body.
He's got that Wolverine healing.
And I'm telling you, I think He's got great rapport with Daniel Jones, which I think is a big deal. I think now I'm not saying he's going to lead the team in receptions or yards or anything like that, but I still think that they're going to be real. Like I think there'll be a lot of competition for sure. But I think Shep will be. I really think he's. Assuming he's healthy, and I think he is. I think he'll make the team. So that's it. You guys are the best.
Yeah,
Thanks so much, Dave. Thanks for the call. I mean, that's so true. Shep is the longest tenured member of this team. 2016. This is his
hilarious.
8th season. What a vet
That's
right
hilarious. That's so funny when I think about that. It's a different world. Guys don't stay around. Contracts get done, don't get done. They move to other teams. Very rare to outside of quarterbacks and kickers. That maybe a couple linemen the guys stay in the league past 10 years.
Yeah,
it's very. It's not like it used to be where you kind of hunker down and I'm here. I'm going to do this is my job. But you can stay for 10, 12, 15 years. And it doesn't happen anymore.
It doesn't. That one place, staying there, having success there. And Shep's seen the highs and the lows here, and continues to be bringing the good vibes, the smile. I mean, so much so. Not as much. His rookie year, he smiled so much, guys called him Teeth. Now he's just young Shep. But I don't know. At some point, it's just going to be Shep.
No, he's not young Shep.
Yeah,
he's old Shep.
He's old Shep.
He's Shepard now.
He's vintage Shep right here. But a team favorite, 201-939-4513. We've got Rel in Maryland on the line. Rel, what's going on?
I still got a Tinky Barber jersey. I need a new jersey.
What did you say?
What'd you say?
I got a Tinky Barber jersey. I need a new jersey.
I have no idea
He's
what
got a Tiki Barber jersey. He needs a new jersey.
Oh, okay.
New jersey, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, whose jersey you getting?
I need my name on it.
One with your name on it? You get the custom one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. Rel, you got to go over to NFL Shop, get that, go to the Giants. MetLife Stadium. I'm sure they could get one of those things done at MetLife, too.
I don't know.
I don't know.
And I'll be honest with you, because I'm too big. For me to get a jersey, it's like, it's going to be extra fabric. They're going to bring in a seamstress. I'm just not sure I want to do that.
Hey, you got your Giants Legends polo on right now. I feel like that's the vibe right now. That's the look for you.
Legends. That's Legends.
You got enough years in a jersey.
You know what that means? I'm
What?
old. I like that, though. I appreciate that.
There you go.
Don't be pierced. Don't be over there agreeing with you. Yeah, you are.
It's like, yes.
Yep.
You and Shep. No, not on the same level.
No.
Not on the same level.
Shep's knees might be as old as mine.
Not even close. Shep's got a lot of gas left in the tank.
I got a brand new knee. Had it put in last year, so I'm feeling pretty good right now. I can't run out this room, but I feel good.
Can't run out of the room. Yeah, no. You got a little squeak when you sit down. I can feel it.
Everything's like click, click.
We got a lot to look forward to today, though. A couple hours away from the first day in pads. We'll be hearing from Brian Daboll before the practice. Hopefully he doesn't say anything to upset our callers this time. But I'm sure, he'll have a lot to offer looking into this first padded practice in the twilight of the day right here.
It's just interesting. Like I said again, I'm excited. It's going to be a little bit different time of the day. I want to see what kind of energy these guys come out on the field with. It's going to be interesting to see the contact. Are they going to be how hard are they going to be getting after each other? I hope that there's not a lot of bodies on the ground, and I don't mean by being hurt, but if there are a lot of, the first day sometimes guys put pads on, they want to see if they can knock a guy on the ground. If they do that, that's when little nicks and bruises happen that you don't usually want. But I want to see them moving their feet. I want to see them getting in good position. I'm excited to watch the one-on-one pass rush to see if these guys are on the offensive line can handle some of the pressure they're going to be getting, especially my man in the middle. We're going to see what happens in that one-on-one. I'm excited to watch that. It'll be the highlight of my whole day. You
think the one-on-one more so than the team periods?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And because the team periods, you're doing your best to protect each other.
Yeah.
Right? Even though you're going through your drills and stuff, somebody could stumble and fall. You're trying to make sure the guy doesn't fall over. You could throw a guy to the ground in a one-on-one period just because you can get by him. You can't throw a guy on the ground in team because there's too many bodies and too many. God forbid you roll up on Saquon or Daniel out there, then you think, okay, well that's a bus ticket. They won't even give you a plane ticket. That's a bus ticket out of town. So they get you out of here. So you have to be careful. Yeah. Be careful. Aisle or window. Where you want to sit? That's over.
Oh yeah. We'll have a lot to look forward to. I mean, not just in the trenches. Of course, that's the key, especially that's the focal point when you've got the pads on. But look at these DB wide receiver matchups.
The linebackers. Seeing
tight ends. Your guy Darren Waller, who we have heard great things about. We've seen great things from.
Evan Neal. Like I said, I keep going back to the trenches. I mean, he gets enough. Yeah. This is his second year. He's healthy. He's supposed to put a lot of work in this offseason. I want to see if it's starting to pay off. There's going to be a lot of guys over on that edge trying to make sure they're opposite of Thibodeau. They want I want to be the guy opposite Thibodeau. Right now we think it's Ojulari, but it may not be.
Yeah.
Could be anybody.
You got that draft story, the two linked, Evan Neal came on Thibodeau and all that.
Yeah.
And it's tough because there's a lot of people making that comparison to Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas just signed the extension. Andrew Thomas making that leap in year 2. People saying, well, Andrew Thomas did it. Evan Neal's going to do it too. Evan worked hard this offseason, though. He dropped a lot of weight.
And both guys had the same thing. Both of them were injured, and they played through an injury in their rookie year. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here at the end.
Yeah, but each guy is a different guy, is his own guy. And so we'll be able to look forward to seeing what that happens on the field today.
Exciting. Yeah, I'm very excited to see it.
We'll be tweeting out some photos and some updates.
On the gram.
Make sure to follow Howard on the gram for all the latest content.
Just cooking.
Cooking with the kids.
Yep.
Love that for you. Thanks so much for listening to BBK today. Howard Cross and Madelyn Burke, we did it.
We did.
It's our first BBK together.
Bam.
Fist bump, buddy. That's a show. Thanks so much for tuning in, listening to today's episode of Big Blue Kickoff Live. It's part of the Giants platforms everywhere and giants.com/podcasts. You don't want to forget the other Giants podcasts. We've got the Giants Huddle podcast, as well as many others. Her playbook on there as well.
I'm just waiting for John to get my podcast together. I'm waiting.
Yeah, what are you calling your podcast?
I have no idea. At the cross.
Meet me at the crossroads right here. That's a show for us today. Madelyn Burke, Howard Cross. Thanks for listening. Let us know how you felt. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you later.